Y'all used to hate on all of my moves, but now niggas on it. They used to bait me on me and my views, but now niggas on it. I used to tell them I'ma have me a show, but now niggas on it. Her homies on it, your homies on it. Y'all used to hate on all of my moves, but now niggas on it. They used to debate me on me and my views, but now niggas on it. I used to tell them I had me a show, but now niggas on it. Her homies on it, your homies on it.
What up, we back. Realest Podcast 7, man. We here out in the field today, man, in South Philly. HOF Media, man. Shout out to my guy Apollo for lending us the space to be able to come here today with these amazing individuals that are veterans at TRPE, but they ain't been here in a minute. We're going to get into all of that in a second. But today's guests are returning for the 4th time overall. It's also the first time in a long time. The timeline and trajectory of their business mirrors ours, as we both started at the same time in 2017 and have continued to elevate over the years and weather the storm in this treacherous industry. From their first sold-out show with Jadakiss and Fabulous to the upcoming Dope Fest on September 29th, they've remained unmatched in their consistency, execution, and quality control. Their unbelievable resume includes hometown heroes like PNB Rock, Meek Mill, Freeway, and the Young Guns, Southern legends like Jeezy, Young Dolph, and Rick Ross, and leaders of the new school like Lil Durk, Metro Boomin, Lil Baby, A Boogie, 42 Dub, City Girls, Bossman D-Lo, G Herbo, Rob 49, Skilla Baby, No Cap, Moneybag Yo, The Baby, and many, many more. TRPE Nation, welcome back for the first time in 5 years. Wow. Jamir Shaw and Steph Pioneer, my bros, the CEOs of Dope Shows and Dope Records.
Wow, that was a intro.
Speechless.
Yeah, I know.
No, we glad to be here, though. We
sure.
definitely glad to be here. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Nah, man, y'all, y'all have done a lot. Like I said, we started at the same time.
For sure.
Y'all was frequent guests. I was going back in our history, and I'm looking. I'm like, a dope show, such and such, 2017. Another dope show, such and such. I'm like, oh, they was like regular. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was regular guests, man. And I know y'all super supporters of the show. Yeah. So anytime we can, get together to chop it with y'all, talk about all the great things y'all got going on, is definitely a plus to us in the platform. So we glad that y'all came through today.
No, we super glad to be here too.
Yeah, we excited.
Thank y'all for having us.
Yeah. So like I said, man, in the intro, y'all done a lot over the last 7 years. Y'all are the first and only concert promoters we had on the show, and now the first label owners that we had on the show. What's been the best part of the journey over the last 7 years?
I would say for me, like just seeing the growth. Like now we starting to talk to artists, and artists are starting to hang. Like sometimes they have like, all right, maybe I could get that on the calendar. And then they'll call back and be like, damn, I can't wait to work with y'all. Like I talked to this artist and they said y'all solid and y'all took care of them in this way. Like just seeing the brand grow in that way to where like we walking in labels and they like, oh, these the Dope Shows guys. And like, damn, we was trying to get y'all, we was trying to get artists on y'all festival before. Just seeing the way, like something that just was homegrown turn into like the culture, the industry, like, and people, artists really embracing it. I think for me, that's like the most satisfaction of it all.
What you got, Steph?
No, for sure. I agree with him 100%. Just artists being like, we excited to work with you. We excited to do the show. We excited to do anything with y'all. So it's just seeing the growth over the years, for sure.
I don't think we ever asked y'all this before when y'all came on the show. What made you choose the concert industry as a business to go into? Because y'all both had completely different things going on before coming together to do this.
Yeah, so we thought about doing a club. And then like we was like, nah, like
smart men.
Yeah. And then we was just like concerts in Philly, like it seemed like people always pulled up for them. Yeah. So it was like that's why we chose concerts, and we wanted to do something just a little bit different, something that we could like have every year that we could continue to do over and over again. Yeah. And Mary used to say like people always feel like with clubs like they get burnt out and we'll do that club no more, but like we ain't really feel that concept with the shows. It was just always going to be something we could do.
Yeah. How do y'all decide what artists to work with in terms of who you build a show around, who you might put like a small tour together with? You know what I'm saying? Like I know in the beginning y'all took Fab and Jeezy to a couple of different markets and it worked. You know what I'm saying? Y'all were very strategic in doing that. So how do y'all decide like, all right, who's good for a headlining show? Who's good for to be part of a festival lineup? Who's good to really lock in with this artist and do multiple events with them?
It just depend on like right now for Dope Shows we got like staple events that we building. So like Birthday Bash is kind of like the new guys, like who the next up and coming. It may not feel like that because like Lil Baby, Lil Durk, we had some big names early on, but they were still kind of like new to the game. Where like this year we did like Friday, Boss Man D-Lo. It's kind of like all of the new. So every year Birthday Bash will be that, like all the new guys. So anytime we scouting for Birthday Bash, it's thinking like who you think gonna be the next Lil Baby, who you think gonna be the next Gunna or the next whoever in the industry, who you feel like gonna be big. Where with the festival is more, or like Fall Classic we doing this year, which that's gonna be in November, is like a new staple event that we introducing, and that's more like your classic guys that we built with, like your Jeezy, your Fans, every year, like classic people. And then the festival is like who the biggest people that we could get at the moment. So that's kind of like how we, and then one-off shows is like, surprisingly, some things come across our desk of just like this artist want to, like we got to that point now where certain artists is like, I want them to do my show, or I want them to be a part of the rollout that we have going on with this. So some of it is like opportunities that get presented to us, or it's just like a feel that we have. Like even the anniversary shows, like that was something that we introduced to the culture. Like I see it even right now. The Locks is doing they got a 30-city tour for their 30th anniversary. It wasn't none of that before we did Meek Mill 10th year anniversary and then Freeway. We watched Jill Scott, just a bunch of people do the anniversary packaging, but like that was something that like we came up with of like we
was a Beanie Siegel anniversary show at the Met this year.
We were supposed to do that, but
it all was a trickle off of us sitting down with Meek and being like, Meek, let's do your 10th year anniversary show. It makes sense. It's Philly. Let's do the Wells. And we ended up doing it. And I feel like just seeing that too in the industry is huge for us. But that's how we kind of pick lineups. It's like whether this time we might be going old school, this time we might be going young, this time we might be going like who the legends or who just the biggest people. Like for the festival, we want to go like Travis Scott. We want to go like huge like that to years to come. So it's like the festival is going to always be the biggest artist. Birthday Bash going to always be like the newest, hottest artist. And then Fall Classic could be like just the legends of the game.
Do y'all see just as far as like, seasons go? I believe y'all live in Miami now, right?
Yeah.
You don't really see like dramatic changes in seasons. Philly, the Northeast is way different. Do y'all see a difference in traffic, whether it's an uptick or a downtick, depending on the season that it is when y'all rolling these shows out?
The summertime is like super slow.
Because people traveling.
Yeah, people traveling. Mir always said that. I think like the summertime, we just gotta stay clear of. So the summertime is slow. The fall is usually better. And like tax season is always
so.
Another thing too we learned when we started doing shows in Boston is like the college community.
The college community.
So like you don't really think about that per se when you building stuff. You just think like I'm in Philly. It's X amount of million people here. We just gonna do shows. But we've learned over the years like basing shows around the college schedule or when colleges is coming back or when they're going to be in town. Like in Boston, the population in Boston might be 2 million people when colleges is in town, might be 900,000 when there's no college. So it's like those type of things really impact the economy that when we first started, we wasn't really looking at. But now it's like we're going to have our festival every year towards the end of September because we know everybody is sitting still at that point. The kids is back in school. College students are back. Moms, dads, folks got to sit down at that point. So it's like it's better to do it when the college kids is in town.
For sure.
Yeah. Something I super appreciate that y'all did last year for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Jeezy, Fab, but y'all also honor a bunch of our heroes, a bunch of our unsung legends, from the city. Spado, Bonic from Philly's Most Wanted. Who else was on that show?
Freeway.
Yeah.
I feel like that might have been.
But
it was the first. It was the whole major. Spado was on it, but he had like the whole major figures movement with him.
So it's like stuff like that, man. That y'all are doing. That y'all in the space where y'all don't have to because y'all have all of these different connections with all these different artists and stuff like that. So just to see that was like, damn, like that's fly as shit. Because otherwise these people don't necessarily get booked unless it's like a smaller venue, whatever, and y'all put them on stage at the Met.
It's crazy. We in a space where like our age range, like we was able to experience like the Spades and the major figures of the world, but still like know who Rob and Skilla Baby is. Like it's like we in that pocket. We not just like so focused on old or young. We kind of had that mixture of everything, so we can appreciate to do a older show. Whereas those like that'd be legendary to do Fab and Jeezy and State Property here, and then like we'd be able to be able to put that together. Like coming from the era that we from, I wouldn't want to come from no other era. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's the dope thing about us, and in our curation of the shows, like we always implement that.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot of highlights and stuff like that. What's been some of the pitfalls, some of the setbacks that y'all experienced over this 7-year journey?
We went to Baltimore, lost a lot of money.
Got rained out. I was there.
Yeah, we got rained out. We lost like $100,000 there. What else?
I feel like balancing it all at times. Sometimes we feel like we doing more, like we succeeding more right now with the label, but the shows is not moving as much, or feeling like, all right, you got an all-star show, but like now you're trying to get the motion moving back with the label. Like pivoting between both businesses, I think sometimes could be a challenge. And just finding the right shows. Like you could have connections with artists and you could put a show up, but they may not have the hard tickets yet. Sometimes there's such thing as being too early. Like you could be too early on an artist. So like those times, just never. I feel like when we first started, it wasn't as political. I feel like that's the downside of the growth sometimes. It's like you grow and now there's a lot more politics, a lot more things that come into play. Sometimes that's frustrating. Like sometimes we have artists and you lose them to other things just because of the politics.
Because this show we had another headliner. We had a dual headliner situation.
I heard Mir told me.
And
I was waiting on the announcement, then I seen the other one and I was like,
no,
that's cool. Like that work.
But it's crazy because that in the beginning, I feel like we used to fall in love with whatever ideas we came up with. Now it's like we just so used to pivoting. It's like we don't even trip about it no more. It's like all right, whatever, that can't happen. What's next, or what else can we do? But it is challenging though too, because you could see, like you see the successful, or like, damn, we'd have had this. We were just talking about we had a headliner this year for Birthday Bash that ended up falling through. Like it was that same lineup, but it was just one other person that was supposed to be the headliner.
Right.
And that situation ended up falling through. We ended up just announcing with it. Afterwards, you sit back and be like, when the show didn't sell out, you feel like if we had that headliner, we knew we would have sold out. But it was the politics of the business.
The politics be crazy.
Have y'all experienced a situation yet where there's like a dope shows tax where artists are trying to get more money out of y'all than they do somebody else?
All the time.
All the time. We used to talk about it today. Yeah, for sure.
How do you navigate situations like that when, I always say, like, dope boys know dope boys, lawyers know lawyers, doctors know doctors. I'm sure y'all know other people that's in the concert space all over the country and stuff like that. So y'all are a lot of times sharing intel in order to get the best negotiation, stuff like that. So how do you deal with that when you know for sure that they're doing San Diego or Arizona at this reduced number, but they want substantially more from y'all?
I think it's been hard, but like really learning how to say no. Like, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to do it that way. And like standing on it, and because earlier we used to feel like we got to have, because this was our idea, we have to have it this way or it's not going to work. And it's like, sometimes you got to flex and be like, all right, if it don't happen that way, it can happen another way. So like, I think with years being in the business, being able to just sit back and be like, nah, we ain't doing it like that. I think that's.
And it is a test to the brand. What I was saying earlier, I feel like sometimes we just told the artists this week, they told us like, y'all gonna have to do it this way. And we was like, all right, we just gonna pass. And then a couple days later, they called back and was like, no, we did our homework on y'all. Like, we really want to do the show with y'all now. And now we ended up getting the show, but the playing field is different. Now it's like they coming into it willing to do whatever we ask them to do. So it's good when you see it play out that way.
Because it's a balancing act of like, sometimes you're going to get a lower price because of who you are. Sometimes you're going to get a higher price. Sometimes you're going to fall right where where you need to be in order to, to make it happen. But, y'all do a great job of navigating, through all of this. And you don't have to say a name or any name. Tell me about the worst experience y'all had putting the show together.
The first thing that popped in my head was we booked the artist. We was promoting the artist for about, 2-3 months. And the show wasn't selling that good. We went in there. We woke up that morning of the show. We knew we was going to lose money on the show. We was like, all right, whatever. We still going to go forth with the show.
Hold that thought too, because we're going to come back to that where it's like, you walking into a loss. We got to talk about that point.
So we know we're going to lose money. It's just like, all right, cool. We're going to do the show today. And the artist ended up being late. And it had nothing to do with us. And the artist was late. we had a curfew, we would have lost. We was already going to lose money. What people don't understand about curfews is if you miss your curfew, that's a fine. So now you already losing money. Now you're going to lose more money to accommodate this artist that was late when you really could just not let the artist miss their set time. Like in the contract, it got a set time. You miss your set time. And then that artist tried to make it like we did bad business or like we did something wrong and like try to sway people into being like, oh, like I ain't dealing with them. I ain't messing with them. But it's like, you're not messing with us because you was late. And you got to go through that. And you got to explain to people. And people don't understand the business of it all. A lot of these artists don't even understand the business of it all. So I feel like that was a thing where it was like, not only was we going to lose money today, but we still was going to do the show because it was a certain amount of tickets out there. And we felt like our name was on the line. Right. But it's like, didn't they have an artist kind of like belittle your brand? When it's like, we didn't even do nothing wrong. We was set up. We was ready for you. We had your back in. You got here super late. It was nothing that we could do.
Yeah, so now ain't no back end and you ain't going on stage.
And you ain't going on stage. and we going to make our curfew so that we don't lose no more money.
Don't they find you like every minute or some shit like that? Every 5 minutes? It's like some small
interval. On the venues. But like it could be like, at that show, the venue was basically 1 minute over was a $10,000 fine. And then every minute after that was like something tacked on. Like after the first, it was like from a minute to 10 minutes was a $10,000 fine. Then every minute after the 10 minutes was like $1,000 increase. Yeah. So like we could have lost 20 grand just by letting you perform and still was going to have to pay you.
Right. And this is from the venue.
This from the venue. So when you sign a contract with the venue, so like it's union workers. The venue might gotta, like, let's say if the venue is on Broad Street got a curfew to where like everything on Broad Street got to be shut down by 11 o'clock. So everybody has to be exiting the venue by 11 o'clock. So if this artist is trying to, you pay for a 45-minute set, this artist show up at 10:30 and they expecting to go on. It's like, you can't go on. There's already an artist on. We sticking to our run of show. You missed your time. And we're not going to take the hit on the curfew side of things. And like we was in Baltimore, the fire marshal was there. Yeah. Like sometimes the fire marshal would be present, like backstage next to you. Like, all right, y'all better
about that time.
Yeah, like if y'all go over, I'm taxing y'all more so.
Yeah. And also like artists like not taking pride in they set, like not performing for the time that they were supposed to perform for, like that specific show.
Oh yeah,
Mir was about to chase somebody back on stage because they was on for 20 minutes, and it's like that ain't how you got to perform. But like to look at the trajectory of like what happened with that, with those people, like you can understand why. I mean, they started to make a little bit of a comeback, but you got to take pride in your performance. Right, man. You got to get up there and say like, if you're gonna do 45 minutes, do 45 minutes. If you're gonna do an hour, because these fans is going to remember everything that you did. Yeah. And they're going to be tweeting about it. They're going to be posting about it. They're going to have their thoughts. And they're going to blame us. So it's like, you got to take pride in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Back to the waking up knowing you're going to take a loss. Yeah. How do you deal with that? Because, you know, I was party promoter for 12, 13 years, whatever. And it was some Jones where, you know, nobody's coming to this shit. Yeah. Like, it's raining, it's snow. I had a party with Chino from from Dream Chasers or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was the coldest day in recorded history. And I still got to press on and pretend like, oh, this is going to be all right tonight. No, it's not. Nobody's coming. Yeah. I think 140 people came, something like that. And 40 of them was with him. How do you prepare? How do you prepare for that and like gain that like thick skin of knowing like I'm going to take a loss, but it's cool. I'm going to get it back on the next one.
Yeah. I think working with LiveNation kind of like gave us a different way of looking at it. Like they get to having calls and cutting stuff. Like they want to cut anything, you know what I'm saying? So like we just, even before we get to that day, we be having so much planning going on that we kind of make it manageable. So in most cases, I would say, yeah.
And depend on your pipeline. Yeah. So like if we got a bunch of shows in the pipeline, we might know like, all right, we're gonna take a loss today, but we hitting them on this one in a couple weeks or a couple months. I feel like that. Then like it's really sometimes it's the brand of like, all right, we've been promoting this show for so long. It might like you might have needed, I don't know. Let's just say for the Met sake, or let's use birthday bash. Prime example. Last birthday bash, we had 10,000 seats. We ended, say our break even was like 6,000. We was at like 5,000. You waking up that morning, you praying that 1,000 people buy tickets, but if it's raining or if it's the weather ain't good, you look at it like all right, I'm gonna just eat this because it's gonna be 5,000 kids that's gonna come out today, that's gonna have a blast. And when they leave, they're not thinking about the loss we took. They just thinking about they had a blast at birthday bash. Yeah. So next year, those same 5,000 kids will be down to come back to birthday bash again. So it's just thinking about like when you got these staple events that you building, is like we never want to cancel them. You never want to. You don't want to have a year where you don't have birthday bashes. Like every year you want to do it, even if this year you ain't make money. You looking at it like over time, I know we gonna make the money back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Along the road, what's a mistake you think you learned from when it comes to putting on these big concerts?
Overbooking, paying too much. Like when you got somebody that you know is only worth 20,000 and you pay them 50, and you know they worth 20. It's like if you do that too much, you're gonna have issues. So like I think overpaying has been a big issue.
I think also too they go with overpaying is in the beginning we would be dealing with booking agents sometimes. And like an artist, they'd tell you 10%, but if the artist is 50 grand, it's like you feel like that 5 grand don't matter. You feel like, oh, this person linking me to this artist.
Right.
You could now we try to always find the best number and the best way to get directly to the artist to not pay nobody else outside of the artist and their team, because you might look up and you might lose 20,000 on the show, but you look at the booking fees, you might the agents might have got your whole profit, or they might have been what took you over the top to lose money. Yeah. So not only trying to get the best number for the artist, but not paying a bunch of people in the middle.
Yeah.
Either.
Making sure you got a solid headliner for sure. Like I think that's something that we had to like learn, and making sure like whoever you gonna pay on that headlining slot, like they really worth the tickets.
Like as far as like notoriety or like being able to show up and perform?
Ticket sales, notoriety,
prestige,
showing up and performing, like pretty much all of the above, but they really got to be worth it. Because sometimes you get a headliner that's not right for that show, and that could be an issue as well.
Because you want the headliner to have built up tickets. Like I know one thing that people always say about us, like, dang, like why y'all always do stuff with Dirk? But it's like Dirk is an artist that we took from 1,000 seats to 20,000 seats. Yeah. Like we built that art, we built Dirk up in this market. So it's like you want them to have that type of history already. You don't want to take like the artist that's just coming out and they hot and put them in a venue that's too big, or put them as the headliner for a venue that's too big, because they don't got that built up consistency where fans have been purchasing tickets or fans have seen their performance to know like, oh, I rock with them, or they put on a good show. Yeah. So that play a part too.
Yeah, we've been booking Dirk since he was 20 grand. Like, and we did the Fillmore with him like so long ago. You know what I mean? So we've done so much with him. We added to his set. We like helped out as far as like production. Like our guy Dan, he's his production manager.
Right.
We added a band. They went on tour with the band. They played they did the band with us the first time, and then they went to Rolling Loud and they played that band.
Right.
We've added so much to him. So he got so much equity built up with us. So we always work with him. Like, you know what I mean? So we work with a lot of people though. So you know what I mean? I know.
No, but I think people just don't understand that psyche of like, if you did 10,000 tickets with an artist, and then now you turn around and this next year and the artist dropped again and they doing a run again, that artist might got 12,000 tickets, 13,000 tickets now in the market. Yeah. But people look at it like, oh, why y'all bring him again? It's like, because he got an extra 3,000 tickets in the market that we know is going to sell out.
Yeah. Steph spoke about it. Actually, that was my next point about y'all show blueprint is the industry standard now.
Yeah.
Y'all, Dan the Man and Raj have created so many people's production, how it looks, their graphics or whatever, and basically elevated the fucking hip hop space as far as like live performances go. How cool is it to see it? But then also it's like, damn, we're not making any money off of this, to where you kind of feel like the sting of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I joke with them all the time. Like Dan, Raj, our guys, like, don't get like, give them the sauce, but not too much of the sauce. Or like, or weigh it out. It do feel good though when you like I never forget it. We was on the phone with Dirk and Steph was like, man, yo, you a rock star. Like we literally planning for the show at the Man. And Steph is saying to Dirk, like, yo, you a rock star. I think we should add a live band. Like us and Dan gonna figure it out. And we ended up doing like Man, Trey, like all these guys from Philly. And then Dirk took them on tour with him for 2 years.
Right.
And like they thanking us forever because like, dang, y'all show turned into an opportunity where we've been touring with Dirk for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But then Dirk seeing it and being like, yo, I never would have played with a band if it wasn't for y'all. Yeah. Seeing that, you know it and like you love it. It do make you feel good. But then it is sometimes where like you elevate an artist set or like it's other competitors in the market. And now it's like, Lil Baby's set wasn't like what we did with Lil Baby at Birthday Bash is like what he later did on his tour, but we didn't get the tour. Right. So then when I go see the tour date and I see how they had the platform and all the things that we put into the show, it do feel like this tour should have been ours. Or you banging your head against the wall feeling like that was our production last night and we didn't make no money. So it do feel crazy sometimes, but we learned how to just roll with it for real.
Right.
Like we kind of roll with everything. Like it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
Like every day I be feeling like we just wake up and be like, all right, like how can we keep the ball rolling? How can we keep things going? Like never really getting caught up in nothing negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What role has homeboy management played in y'all with artist negotiations, trying to get stuff done or whatever, where it's like, we know who the industry standard managers are. Yeah. It's like about 12 of them. Mm-hmm. Everybody else got homeboy management. How has that impacted y'all ability to do business and get contracts ratified and stuff like that over the years?
Sometimes it worked in our favor, honestly. When we was just on Birthday Bash, it was a lot of new guys on that show. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they was kind of like impressed by just our expertise in the business or our brand. So they was kind of willing to do whatever it is that we need them to do, or saying like, dang, I seen what y'all doing with State Property. I was a young boy. I used to love State Prop. Like, dang, can y'all do those same things for us? Right. So sometimes it work in our favor. Sometimes it is the homeboy energy or like where it ain't really, or they trying to get over, or you trying to make an extra buck. Yeah. And that's annoying. But
we've been blessed to work with some great artists. We had a couple instances, but over the years, like a lot of the management team has been pretty good. I would say. Yeah.
Y'all spoke about it briefly. It's a lot of new players coming into the touring space. Mm-hmm. Rolling Loud has a touring arm now. They did Lil Wayne's tour when he went into them small venues in the Fillmore or whatever, sold it out. Monmouth Entertainment and AG have been entering the arena as well. How has that affected your business, if at all, and or altered your approach to how you put events together?
AG definitely altered, but I feel like it's positive, and I commend him because I feel like he's a legend in the promoting space. Like he's been doing it way before us. So, but when we had Birthday Bash last year and AC, when we had it in AC, we was trying to get Future. We was trying to get Future. He ended up having the whole Future tour, and he had Future in Philly around the time that the Birthday Bash was. So it was like a rough time, like promoting with like Future coming into the space at that time. So, and he got a thing where he gave artists like a front end, like a big front end, like at 50%. Right. Whereas though, like when you're doing stuff with LiveNation, it's not always like that. So he make it easier for him to get tours. Right. And we also had another artist. We had Rod Wave for something, and we had it all done. We was ready to go.
We had it all. Monmouth and AG came in,
and they had a touring deal that they did with them, and we wasn't able to.
You said that they 50% for the whole tour.
Advance you 50% for the whole tour.
Yeah.
So if you got 50 dates at 100,000, that's $5 million. He go 2.5, and then you pick up your back end every night.
Yeah.
And if it was that though, like with the Rod Wave situation, our show was done. We was ready to announce.
We had the flyer,
like everything. We was done with the show.
Yeah.
When AG found out that we was doing the tour, it turned into more like, well, that's a market that we gonna play on the tour. Yeah. And they gave him 35 dates, $1 million a day. So even though we was paying 1.4 for our one date,
right?
The fact that these people was giving you 35 million and they told you got to take this date off, they offered us to do it like in a secondary market, but we ain't want to pay 1.4 and be in Atlantic City. So,
right.
That happened with Lil Baby as well. Yeah. So I forget about that, but we had Lil Baby. And then they end up doing the whole tour with him, and we ain't get that. So.
Yeah, I heard
Rod Wave got $1 million a show for 35 shows.
Yeah. Well, that is his tour that's coming up now.
Wow.
Lil Baby did. No, Rod Wave probably getting more than $1 million. That was his last tour. Right. This tour, he probably getting more than that. But Rod Wave is a beast on the ticket side.
Yeah, I seen that.
So y'all Lil Baby date, was it a one-off? Was it a couple of dates?
It was a one-off. It was for, I think it was for birthday. Or no, we had him by himself. Yeah.
Like a standalone
Yeah, it was
date?
a standalone show we had him
And we was just building around him. As the
Yeah, because I talked to some people from LiveNation about all of them situations y'all just talked about. I talked to multiple people that work for LiveNation, and they was just like, Monmouth and AG is kicking our ass right now. Because they were paying, I think, a 20% premium on every show.
Yeah.
So I think LiveNation had a tour set up with Baby, the one he went on last summer.
Yeah.
They had a tour set up with him, Glorilla, whoever, whatever. Baby was headlining, and he already had the lineup. They was going to pay him $800,000 a night. Monmouth came in and said, no, we'll give you $1 million a night, and we'll advance you to 50%, and blah, blah, blah. And we have our own route, and blah, blah, blah. And it was Baby, the Kid Leroy, Glorilla, everybody else. And then Kid Leroy ended up dropping off, and they dropped a bunch of dates. And then simultaneously, I was told that, I don't know what company it was, but somebody ran a smear campaign on that tour because they lost it.
Yeah.
So it gets wicked.
It's wicked. It's definitely wicked.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes for sure. And just even with Staples in Philly, like it's Staples in Philly. We know what they are, and it's like we kind of like disrupt that a lot. And it's like, what are they doing? Like what do they got going on? So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of politics.
Yeah. How much of being disruptors is a part of like y'all business model?
We love it.
Yeah,
we love being disruptive to the market because at the end of the day, our goal is to be the biggest concert promotion company in the world, but especially here, like we're from here. So we don't have no problem with being disruptive. We're gonna be, the festival is gonna live every year. Folks gonna have to get used to it. I feel like all our Staples events every year, we coming through and we doing them every year with or without whoever.
And it's about doing new stuff, trying new stuff. Like, we've been going to the same events for so long. It's like some of them is cool, but it's like we can have some new stuff.
Yeah.
It's like before it was Rolling Loud, it wasn't Rolling Loud. You know what I'm saying? And it was Coachella, and that was the only thing that people thought was the biggest thing. Now you gotta allow new stuff, you gotta allow new energy. And I feel like sometimes just, you know, the old energy kind of like be a little lag to that, but like we gotta push through and we gotta allow new stuff because that's what it's all about.
What's good, people? It's your boy Chad here from the realest podcast ever, Philadelphia's premier podcast. With football season coming up soon, I'm happy to bring you this exclusive experience from our partner, MyBookie. Don't ever miss a piece of the action. With MyBookie's sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on everything and win anywhere, anytime using your mobile device. There's no need to download an app. All you got to do is click my link, sign up, and you're ready to bet. Go to https://bit.ly/join with TRPE. That's bit.ly/join with TRPE to get up to 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Yes, MyBookie is coming through big for the TRPE Nation, giving you up to $1,000 in deposit match when you sign up for a new account at MyBookie. As a bettor, you demand perfection, and MyBookie delivers. NFL and college football, and MyBookie gives you the options to bet and win big all season long. MyBookie is safe, it's secure, and most importantly, when you win, you get paid quick. We know how those other apps can be. They want to delay you, hold you up from being able to get your money out and all of that. MyBookie is nothing like that. But let me sweeten the deal for you. Use promo code TRPE to lock you into a welcome bonus that will spot you all the way up to $1,000. Again, that's $1,000. Courtesy of TRPE, courtesy of MyBookie. You heard that right. That's a promo code TRPE to claim a bonus on your first deposit, and you can bet on anything with house money. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, only with MyBookie. And a lot of people don't know, Rolling Loud grew from like in a space as small as this room that we in. They really cultivated and grew an audience, you know, over years, and then, you know, it got organically got big, and then they got that venture capital money, and it's over, you know, from there. But you know, they didn't even exist. If I'm correct, when y'all started, they didn't exist.
I think they started. Yeah, they was
doing. Yeah, they had, but they was doing.
They was this year. Yeah.
Okay, so they was a little ahead of y'all.
Yeah. Yeah,
but they was doing a lot of smaller, like even the earlier festivals was small compared to where they are today.
Yeah.
Like they was when they started, they was doing. I remember when we did our festival, our first festival, we did 4,000 and poured down rain. And when we looked at their first festival, I think they did 6,000 and it poured down rain.
Yeah.
So it was similar in the beginning. That venture capitalist money,
Yeah, but we just
changed it, just changed the game.
Just learning that part of the business, like, you know, like coming from where we from, and that's one of the reasons we moved to Miami. Like, obviously to have a better life, but just to get more focused on things that we didn't see here. Because like being in business here, it's just like you a business and you doing your thing, but it's like, what's next? But like in Miami, like we'd sit down and it'd be 5 people having the same conversation we trying to have about venture capitalists or like raising money or doing things at a grander level. You have 5 people around you, they doing that all day.
Yeah.
So like really learning that world it was important to us, and like scaling the business up, and like what type of business structure do you need to be able to even intake money? What type of business structure do you need to be able to scale to that point?
To
like
pass
that?
due diligence and all of that stuff.
And all that stuff, and set up your business the right way. So that's super important.
Have y'all had like large scale investors approach y'all about getting involved in y'all business?
Yeah, we definitely have. Yeah.
What's the I know y'all have we're gonna talk about y'all have a partnership, you know, with LiveNation that you know that y'all have, which is, you know, history in itself, because they don't really reach back and say, let me partner with my competition.
Right.
So that's monumental in itself. But like, what's the general, you know, premise on you know, potentially taking investors in order to scale the business? Or is it just like, let's just rock out independently how we've been doing?
I think it's like you got a baby and you gotta like, you can hold the baby, but it's like you gotta like let the baby grow and like let other people come on and like help you scale. So I feel like we definitely open to it.
Yeah, it just gotta make sense.
It definitely gotta make sense. But just even understanding what our value is in the market, like what's our business worth? Like that's important. Like where we come from, I never had those conversations. It's like, what is dope shows worth? What is TRPE worth? Like, it's like we had to have those conversations, and being from where we from is like, it's tough to have that, but we want to be the pioneers of that. We want to know what it's like to scale to $100-200 million business. Like that's a real thing. It's not uncommon. It's like, it's people walking around all the time with $100 and $200 million businesses. And
3 and 4 times over.
Exactly. So it's like, we want to be that. And like, when people look at us, like, we got the hip hop, we got the label and all of this stuff, and we like watches and chains and all that stuff. But it's like, we want to be like the people that's like telling y'all like how to do business at a high level. And you know, I think that's important for us, for both of us, for our kids, for our legacy. I think that's super important, because we ain't had nobody to do that. It's like we was doing a deal with LiveNation, and it's like we didn't even understand why. You know what I mean? Like what was it for? So I think it's important.
Talk about the deal with LiveNation. Like I said, man, y'all made history, multi-year, multi-million-dollar partnership with LiveNation. How did that, you know, come about in terms of like, how did they broach the conversation? And do y'all feel like y'all got the support or whatever that y'all needed from them in terms of doing the deal?
I would say the disruptive piece is how we got the deal, to be honest.
We had 2 deals on the table from them.
Yeah, we had 2 different deals, but when we did the Wells Fargo, we did Lil Baby, Lil Durk, Gunna, G Herbo. At that time, they was the 4 hottest artists in the world, but we had radius clause on them. We was promoting them for 6 months. So no competitors could do nothing with the 4 artists in hip hop for 6 months. They couldn't even plan their summers properly because we was right there, like smack dead right before the summer started. So that show, I feel like we was disrupted for years, but that show was the show like OR, like they doing 20,000.
Yeah, you start cracking arenas, you gonna open people out.
Right. Yeah. So from there, how the deal came about though, we was talking to Sean, Jeff. We ended up doing the deal. We had lunch with Jeff a couple days before the Wells Fargo, and we went into it. He asked us kind of just like, what all do y'all want? Like, and for us, it was just having the budgets to be able to book, or having like this endless flow of cash is what we thought of. Like, we could book anything. And Jeff was kind of like, I'll make that happen for y'all. And from there, we ended up doing the deal. Our first show with them was the Meek Mill 10th year anniversary. It was like, we came in with that idea and we hit that out the park. And with any partnership, it's give and take. Some things go good, some things don't.
Yeah.
But I feel like we navigating it. I think the best thing that we did do in it all was we did a true 50-50 partnership where we did not sell none of the company. So we just did a profit split
on 50, per event.
Per event. Yeah. But we still have the autonomy to do things on our own if it don't work within our deal, and we still own 100% of our company. So when we talking about selling equity or we talking about doing things within the business or making decisions for dope shows, it's not like we got to go talk to our partner about it. It's like we still own it. And I would just say for any creatives, anybody that has a business, any business owner, I think that's super important. Like before you actually sell your business to somebody, like make sure it's a true fit and don't run from being independent, because your vision that you have for your business is like nobody is going to do it the way you're going to do it.
That's a fact. Yeah, we just experienced, something similar. I want to let Matt talk about it, but I'm not going. We experienced something similar. We did a deal with Revolt Podcast Network or whatever, and it's like, again, it was a licensing deal. We didn't give up no equity, no ownership, nothing like that. Just basically gave them the right to be able to sell advertisement, market, and distribute the show or whatever. And in time, we quickly started to realize, like, all right, it looked good. It's cool on the masthead, all of that stuff. The letterhead looks sharp. It looks nice when I'm sending out emails. But it's like when you get down to the brass tacks, I'm like, I was doing better numbers, more distro, more freedom when I was indie, and just had to basically make the decision. We made it really this week to basically cut the cord, and they was super fair about it, and that's what I respect about them guys, how they handled the separation, because they didn't say, oh, well, technically you got XYZ more time left and this and this and this. And we just parted ways amicably. But we had to learn that. It's just like, that it looks cool. It's a nice resume builder.
From where we from, I feel like you be looking for that. Nobody don't want to say it, but I don't have no problem with saying it. You be looking for validation.
Yes, indeed.
Where we're from, if the guy the record label could be robbing the guy. We turned down so many record deals. It's like you could be getting robbed from the label, but at the end of the day, if you could say that you are signed to such and so,
you got that chain,
you got this going on, everything else go out the window. And for us, it's like we did want certain validations at certain points, but I feel like once you start doing it on your own, or once you start getting in certain rooms, you realize like we was doing this by ourselves. We wasn't doing nothing wrong. We didn't really need nobody. And I'm not saying that as far as our partnership. Right. I'm just saying just in general. Like, I feel like a lot of times where we from, we just think we need that. Or like, we think like, if I could be part of Rockefeller, it's on. Like, it's like, no, if you build up your thing too, it could be on.
Yeah, I think for us, the biggest thing, Chad made me talk about it. I think the biggest thing for us was we kind of looked at it like, damn, we was right. Yeah, that was the energy. Like, at least I know, like, yo, we was right that whole time. Like, when motherfuckers kind of was like, turn the mics off and fold up the card tables, all that bullshit, was just like, no, we make sense. It makes sense to do it. So it was like having that happen and being on the same label with some of these humongous podcasts was like, oh, all right, it makes sense. But then you realize after a while, you like, y'all only care about, you know what?
You only care about 4 to 8 shows. And it's like, and then when you see somebody continuing to onboard more shows and you're not getting the attention that you came over here for, it's like, oh, I was better off independent.
It's like you look at like a bad, like take the 96 Bulls, one of the best teams ever, 72-10, Michael Jordan, all that shit. But it's like Judd Bushler and Randy Brown were on the team. You get to come in the practice facility and you win a ring when we win a ring, but it's like, you better not have no ideas. Like, and that's kind of the energy we felt after a while, where it's just like, yo, you under the umbrella, you good, and it's just like, you know how you get wet at the very end of the umbrella. It's like that shit is not going the way it's supposed to go. So we just kind of like to each other was just like, yo, let's just ask to be released from the joint, and you know it all worked out. But yeah, you do learn very, very quickly. Independent is definitely, it just feels better.
Yeah. And you got to press your limits on your independence. Like sometimes we give it up too fast. You know what I mean? Like I was watching an interview with Wendy Day, who signed Cash Money. And she was saying like the best thing about them is they gave me the ability to say no so many times. And they was just doing them, and they was just pressing the envelope so many years, and they was like no to every deal. That way they ended up getting a 95-5 split, the best deal ever. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta put yourself and push your brand to put it to where as though it's right there, but it's independent. It's you. It's like we could be as big as Broccoli City, but we independent. You know what I mean? So that's really the goal. And I think we all got to have that mindset of like pushing it as far as we could push it until it's the right time.
Right.
It's not saying like we don't want to work with nobody, but sometimes you got to have people buy the cow and not just get the milk.
Absolutely. And you got to do business on your terms. And it's like, there's a corporate term, with them. What's in it for me? If you can't identify the with them of a deal, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like Mir said, be looking for that validation so much, they'll give up everything.
Yeah.
Like, me and Dan talk all the time about, artists and stuff like that, and just, I be like, yo, he gave up how much for how much? Motherfuckers is giving up 360% of their ass for a little bit of nothing, and then gotta go back to their neighborhood and be the richest man on
forever,
whatever street.
And you got to do that forever.
Forever.
Like forever. You get this one check from the label, they take 85% of your career. Like just learning the business, going into it, I didn't think it was like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a good.
No, good.
I think that goes to Steph's point though, where it's like we don't know.
Yeah.
You had no one in front of you to show you this and tell you this. So it's like when that money starts presenting itself, you just said motherfuckers like watch his chains, going to Sixers games, and it's just like, wait, how can that's kind of the energy and the attitude. So at least for us, you kind of get swept up in it, like, oh, y'all pay how much? Y'all gonna pay how much quarterly? How much this, then? And you'll look up and it's like, it'll be a bad deal.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers know they taking bad deals.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was talking to Toure the other day, and I was telling him we was coming on here. He was like, man, they got the best podcast, man. He was like, it's so many people, like, just like working people and people that I know that's like listening to them all the time. And I feel the same way. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I do. And it's like the way y'all speak and the way y'all conduct y'all interviews, I don't think nobody do it like y'all. I listen to anybody, name anybody. And it's like, y'all really know how to interview people. And I feel like just keep pressing that. Like, keep pressing that, because take it as far. Like, interview the best people that y'all could get, because we be seeing them guys, the full sing guys, all the time when we go eat breakfast at. And it's like, y'all better than them. You know what I mean? I feel like that. I really feel like
I agree with
that. You know what I'm saying? So
take me to breakfast, nigga.
Me and Toure was having a whole conversation about it, and it's like it's a real
shout
thing,
out to Toure, man.
Shout out Toure.
I love Toure, man. I knew Toure since he was 15 years old, man. Toure used to be in After Midnight with us. He had no business being in there. He used to be in there with us every night.
Toure is like mature beyond his years in some ways, and you know what I mean? Like he like, we be forgetting that he not our age. He like, oh, Toure, he only 26. It's like, because he'd have a conversation with you, and it's like, damn, how you know that, man?
Right.
But that's definitely Toure for sure.
Speaking of Toure, let's talk about Dope Records, man. The next evolution of the Dope brand. Dope Records. I've seen various signing announcements and this and that and that. Who's on the roster? Who's on the roster, and what is the current plan for Dope Records?
So right now it's just Toure. G12, he's away, but we put out his last project, but he's away right now.
Okay.
So right now we
always
just
love for G12.
Yeah, we like so much love for 12.
Y'all signed him when he was on fire too. And then he got into some trouble, got jammed up.
Yeah, he's super talented. Like he definitely is. Like he really, like, I feel like he had a Polo G sound, but I felt like it was even more elevated than that. You know what I mean? Like, and he was passionate. Like 12 would send us like 20 songs, 30 songs from one session. And it's like, damn, one session. Like that's how he was. Like he just recorded like that. And hopefully, when he get out, he'd be able to write his career. But right now we just got Toure, and we just trying to build with him and like really take our time. Like we ain't really been rushing this next project. We've been recording. And we got some shit for sure.
Right.
Don't get it twisted. We definitely got some shit, but like at the end of the day, we just really just trying to take our time with it. And
we definitely dropping probably next couple months.
Okay.
Huge project. I feel like Toure been elevating every project.
Yes.
So like even with the features, the sound. So we coming with it again.
We had Tone Trump on the show almost a year ago. Damn, that was last September. And he was talking about, that he was in Miami in the studio with Toure. And he was like, no, it's different. Toure, he's like, no, man, he really he a rap star now.
He in his zone. He in his zone. We dropped 2 projects the end of last year. And we dropped them close. So we was like, let's give it a little breather. We put 25 records out in like a 2-month, 3-month time span. And so now it was like, this year we coming again. with that same energy.
What made you want to transition from concert to the rap label?
Really, it was Steph. I ain't gonna lie. During the business, I feel like when we used to be sending up money out to artists, Steph used to kind of jokingly before the pandemic, like if we was sending an artist a front end, he would be like, dang, imagine if we could be on the other side of this. Like we could do shows and people could be sending us front ends for our artists. And during the pandemic, we had a 14-month hiatus, which that was the longest we ever was off, where we couldn't do no shows. We were still planning. Steph kept saying every day during the pandemic, like, bro, if we had an artist right now, we would still be at it. We wouldn't be sitting still.
Be streaming, like, be getting that money every Friday.
so soon as we came out the pandemic, I had went to Miami. Yeah. Went to Miami. I was out there with Meek for the weekend, and I just was like, the artist shit do make a lot of sense. Like, why am I trying to run from it? And I ended up telling Steph, like, I think we should do it. And we went after a few Philly artists at the time. We was like, let's just start with our city. Toure ended up being the hottest to us, and that's what we moved forward with.
Yeah.
What attracted y'all to Toure?
I mean, he was hot as shit for sure.
For sure.
But when we sat down with him, we all from West Philly. Yeah. We just felt like a genuine feeling from him. And we put it together. Like he believed in us just as much as we believed in him. And that was important, I felt like. So that's
yeah, I was a super fan of Toure's for a while, like way before he was one of the underground people whose music I was actually listening to.
Yeah.
So I used to always say, like, if I did something musically in Philly with an artist, like I would want it to be him. So once we started the label, it was kind of like a dream come true to me when we was able to get Toure to sign with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just gotta stay consistent and just stay at it, because like everybody be in a rush. Like everything gotta happen overnight. But it ain't really like that with any of this stuff that we doing, whether it's music, whether it's shows. You just gotta stay consistent and just stay at it. And they always say good stuff, good dope gonna sell itself. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what we trying to do. We trying to just take our time with it and just really go.
Any aspirations to sign more artists, sign producers, start a publishing arm? Any like aspirations to enhance the music company?
Yeah, for sure. So like we look at it like Dope Empire. Yeah. So like Dope Shows is one arm, Dope Records. We building a studio.
Dope Podcast.
Yeah.
Dope Podcast. Yeah. We building a studio in Miami. Yeah. So we're gonna have the studio aspect of it on the label side. Hospitality. Like we definitely want to tap more into that, because we do it on the show side, as far as like the backstage experience or just the VIP experience, but doing that where it ain't got nothing to do with no show, like just tying hospitality to the brand all the way around. Definitely more artists, definitely producers, but we feel like the studio probably would lean us more into that direction.
Right.
Like once we got the studio, then like filling it up with producers, signing a bunch of producers, signing more artists. Right now, we just gonna focus on Toure until we get a few more things going.
Yeah. I talk to Toure frequently, and he tell me like, he's gotten all type of different deal offers and stuff from big record companies and stuff like that. And that's a testament to his work ethic, but also to y'all as executives in terms of putting him in the right spots and giving him all of that label support as if he's already on a major that's catching these people eye, because the artwork, the features, the music videos, everything is already industry standard.
Yeah.
Why was that important for y'all to operate? Because, a lot of motherfuckers is just shooting video. They in the kitchen. They got a bunch of big ass guns.
Yeah.
Kitchen cabinets, missing doors.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't it's two scenes and they super gangster in all of them. But y'all vision for Toure is already at that standard. So why was that important?
That's the whole thing. Like trying to have like the industry standard. Like when we doing stuff, like when we put out music, like really taking time with like what we putting together with the music. And the production of it, where we record at, how it sound, how it's mixed, how it's mastered. Yeah. Like, that's super important.
I think we always done that, though.
We always did,
Like, I think it started with Dope Shows. Yeah. Like, from the beginning, we was thinking production, screens, pyro, smoke. Like, we always was thinking, like, how can we be better than the big brain?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I feel like even on the label side, it's the same thing. Like, how can we put something together that's better than whatever the record label that the big record label is, and people feel that, or like it touch people stronger and better and feel crazier for the consumer than the bigger brand. Yeah. And I think when you independent and you close to it, you could do that if you willing to spend the money and take the time and like really build it in that way.
And we really try and build our catalog up and just really like have like the residuals from it, because that's really what they want. When you go to a label, it's like, what do you got as far as catalog? If you ain't got a hit record, it's like you got to have catalog.
You got to have catalog. So, they trying to tap into that catalog from day one.
For sure. So that's what they want. So just building that up and just really having that to be like a staple in our business is super important for us.
Yeah. Y'all got a lot of shows coming up that are already announced out and all of that, so we can talk about them. And y'all could feel free to break some news here if y'all want to. But y'all got a lot of shows coming up. Y'all just had Skilla and Rob 49's Toure date. Thumbs up, good joint.
Yeah,
good joint. Yeah.
Good joint.
They building it too. That's like, again, I think sometimes you could be too early. Right. Like it is. They building it up. I feel like they next go round is going to be strong.
I think they next go round will be crazy.
Yeah.
And I like that they're really kind of locking in together. Like they're true collaborators. You see they on each other's stuff. They in each other's videos, even when they not on the songs and stuff like that. They built in a real relationship, almost like Meth and Red shit, where you can expect to see one with the other. You know what I mean? So that's helping. September 15th, Detroit show.
Detroit show.
Yeah.
Peasy, Babyface Ray, Icewear Veza.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I'm like the Detroit music maestro over here. I've been talking about these Detroit niggas for like 5-6 years on this show. So to see them all, kind of rise to prominence has been dope. What about that trio from all of the crop of the 55 Detroit rappers, Michigan rappers, made y'all say, these are the ones that we gonna go with?
I look at those shows like it'd be like back to the basics. Like when we first started, when we used to do the Fillmore, we was always trying to put together like the all-star lineup. So when we was doing a lineup for Birthday Bash, when we had when we had Rod Wave, when we was playing it at the Wells, I kept saying like Babyface Ray, like we need to get Babyface Ray. We got to do something with Babyface Ray. Yeah. And we had got connected to his team, but we just ain't really had nothing to do with him. Right. Once that show ended up falling through, we kind of repackaged it. It didn't make sense on a new date. So I just kept saying like, dang, we wanted to do something. And then Steph got a relationship with an agent that worked with all of Detroit, like a lot of Detroit artists. And he was pitching like Icewear, Peasy. He was pitching just a couple of them. Yeah. And I'm like, I think it'd be genius if we did like those three together and like stuck it. Then from that show, now Icewear and Peasy, they going on tour together. Like they got a whole tour together that started with our date. Yeah. And Babyface Ray not on the actual tour, but it's like our date, even when we talk about like the industry stuff, is like to see like this. They wasn't on tour. It wasn't happening. They wasn't even together.
There wasn't no
this
tour.
Agent was just pitching like I could get access to these different artists, and it was like we grouped them together, and then it turned into like, oh, all right, now they're going to do 20 cities around the U.S. with that same tour. And I think it's just a dope show for Philly to like come out to the Fillmore. It's a small venue. You won't get the experience. You probably won't ever see these three guys together again. So like it's kind of like when we first started, that was our whole thing. Like ain't no show. Well, it still ain't no shows like dope shows. But in the beginning, it was just like we could do Fab by itself. But then this was way before they even put out a project together. It was like, no, let's do Fab and Jada together. Like let's do Jeezy, but put P&B Rock on it and get YBS Scola because we in Baltimore. Like everything was always like, what could be the dopest experience for the fans? And like that show was kind of like prime example of that. Just all over again, like, dang, are we back at the Fillmore? Let's try to put together a Detroit package. Because we know people all over. I know he your man too, Rob Schuler. He for years, they've been like, oh, like, y'all got to do something with the Detroit. Like, he wanted the people that was pushing it. Everybody was always saying, like, y'all got to do something with the Detroit. Right. I feel like that was the best show that, like, we felt like, all right, bet this on brand for us.
Yeah. Dope Fest. September 29th, Liacouras Center, big lineup. Give everybody who's in the lineup and I guess maybe like some behind the scenes of how the show, came together.
So Lil Durk dropping Love Songs for the Streets 3 soon. I mean, we always work with Durk, so y'all most of y'all probably know the history there. And then Herb came from the Durk thing. We did business with Herb, so Herb's supposed to be dropping something soon too. And then Doug, 42 Doug, we had a relationship with the guy that was booking all of Detroit rappers. He was one of them. So we doing something with Doug again.
Yeah.
Cash Cobain, we got a relationship with Kara Lewis, who's Travis Scott's agent.
Slizzy.
That was one of her people. He got a wave right now. I love what he got going on, and I love like how he doing it on a positive drill, like you know what I mean, like another way.
I love the fact that he has ignited an energy around women having fun in rap. Yeah. And he basically took the girl wave that was going on with Ice Spice and Lotto and all of them and flipped it back to the guys where it's like, make songs with the bitches. It's smooth and it's sexy, and now it's becoming the sound of the industry.
For sure. And people gotta start having fun.
Man.
Like
we've been tough for
we've been tough
4
for a
years
long
straight.
time. Like we never had a bowl of cereal. We never did nothing fun. Damn, like it's like
never ate no fruit.
No, nothing. And then we got Four Bats, who's he's up and coming.
Yes.
He had the song with Drake. Yeah. So that was major. We was trying to get him for his own show, but I'm like, we had so many people we was getting for their own show. We was like, man, like we just gotta make one big joint. So we put him on it. We feel like he got a wave. Lil Papa is another artist
from Jacksonville, right?
Jacksonville. He got a wave. He been selling out all his tour dates. And then we gave Lil Kyle from Jerome from Philly a shot. D Sturdy, like a couple festival type guys, Maddox, Scory, Wise Five Funeral.
Maddox from Philly?
He from Philly, yeah.
The little fidget spinner?
He used to be my neighbor. Yeah. Maddox lived across the street from me when I lived in Roxborough.
Yeah, I remember he had his little...
Maddox has one of the craziest stories in rap history because he got jammed up in that Lil Pump bullshit. Lil Pump got signed to Warner Brothers. He was 16 years old, $2 million. Then somebody got in his ear and was like, yo, you know, like your contract not valid because like you a minor. Where's your parents at? I don't know. Cool. Sue him. They sued him, got out of the contract. Warner Brothers re-signed him for $6 million more, but they dropped every underage artist on the label. This is where Maddox comes in at because he had just signed a big deal with them. They was like, keep the money. See you later. We not fucking with these minors no more.
Maddox was one of the first people I used to see on the internet with the YouTube shit, and it was going crazy. I'm like, damn, he got how many views like early on?
When people was getting like when 500,000, a million views was like we won. Maddox was getting like 10.
Yeah, I remember that video. He was like 8. So it's like, that's funny as shit.
I'm glad to see that he landed on his feet.
Shout out Maddox.
Yeah. So we just starting off with that this year. Next year we're gonna try to scale up to do like multiple days and just make it bigger. But that's Dope Fest. Who else?
Dope Fest, realest podcast
ever for sure. Like
I found out when I was in the bathroom. I'm scrolling. I'm like, what?
We doing media coverage with us and what was it, Doghouse podcast, handling all of the media stuff, man. We appreciative because it's a full circle moment. You know what I'm saying? Anytime we get to work together, collaborate, man. I talk to Jamir frequently. I don't talk to Steph as much, but Steph always Steph is one of them people like he sees stuff and let you know he see it. Like Steph be like, yo, this was dope. I like this.
And this your best episode. Steph literally listened to your podcast religiously, like every week. He like, no, because they was talking about this, and like he's like, I know you ain't tapping it every week, but this one of the ones you need to listen to. Like Steph be on it every week.
I be always seeking for information, man. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing for me.
No, we appreciate that you look at us as a source of information, entertainment, whatever it is, man. We're getting old, man. 41 years old, been doing this thing a long time. And it's good to see that, it's still energy around this podcast. Like people, when I announced the other day that we left for Raw, people were so excited. Like I knew y'all niggas was sad. I'm glad y'all got
I had like a good 4 or 5 people hit me was like, yo, I ain't want to say it, but y'all last couple episodes, man, y'all sounded so down. I'm like, did we really? Damn. Oh yeah, that's crazy.
But it's a whole nother. We're getting a whole nother resurgence around being independent again. Which is
congratulations too. Congratulations to y'all getting out the deal and like still moving on. Like I say, let this be like another chapter, like 2.0 vibes, like a whole nother gear.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And we got Juvenile 25th anniversary.
Juvenile,
back that ass up.
When is that?
December 5th.
Yeah.
Where at?
Fillmore.
Oh, I'm coming.
So that's gonna be a vibe. Yeah.
Dye my goatee.
Soldier rat.
That shit gonna be lit.
And then November we doing this. Nobody don't know this, so this is just news. November we bringing our fall classic staple.
Yeah.
So that's something that we thought about. We've been talking about it for probably like the last year or two. We just similar to how you talked about when we did the 50th anniversary, like that style show, but something on a larger scale. So we doing that at the end of November, so people can look forward to that, and that's gonna be something that's like every year we're gonna be doing the fall classic.
Dope.
Yeah.
And then we're bringing our merch back too.
Yeah.
So merch back.
Gotta
at
bring the merch back.
And then merch at Fall Classic. And like stepping the merch up too. Like literally trying to step up everything, like scale everything up.
Yeah. Anybody that's trying to get in contact with y'all, whether it be on the concert side, on the label side, whatever, how can they reach out to y'all? To
Instagram, Dope Records, Dope Shows, Steph Piner, Steph.Piner.
Jamir Shaw.
I didn't realize y'all almost got 100,000 followers on the Dope Shows page now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, when did this happen?
Over time.
Yeah, we've been pushing it. Yeah. And we posting 3, so we always posting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
God damn, man. Y'all dudes is killing it, man. It's always good to have y'all, on the show, just to be able to, to catch up, to, to crystallize, what y'all are doing in the moment, but also talk about the impact and the history and the prestige that, y'all have brought, to the concert game and being a staple for the last 7+ years, man. Y'all doing terrific work, and, anything we can continue to do to help y'all further y'all message, whatever, y'all know y'all got us as an outlet always, and anything y'all need us to pull up to, we there. And I just want to salute y'all, man, and say congrats on everything.
No,
Appreciate
thank
you,
you,
man.
man.
See where y'all at with it now is kind of it's admirable. You know?
No, thank you. Thank you.
Y'all one of the originators of this podcast stuff too, by the way. Like,
oh man, let Steph say it, man. You know what I'm saying? Let Steph say it. I don't gotta say
one
it.
of the first doing it, you know what I mean? And I love how y'all cut y'all clips and stuff now. Is all that, man. So just keep pushing, man.
Thank you, man. That mean a lot to me, man. TRPE, realest podcast ever, sponsored by my bookie. We are out of here.